It'd be interesting, I mean, we'll never know, but how he felt coming away from that. Like you said, he was due to give evidence tomorrow. It was brought forward a day early. It was expected to be a full day. He only got a couple of hours. Rory, what are the tactics at play here from a legal point of view?
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot has been made of the fact that yesterday Anthony White-Casey for Associated Newspapers was supposed to do opening statements for 2 days, and he only did 2 hours, which pushed Prince Harry into the box a day early. And this is a technique that can be used to try and rattle a witness. And then today, interesting that they only cross-examined Harry for 2 hours. Now, in my experience, if you have a witness on the ropes, you keep going. He was due to be cross-examined for a day, and they took him out. They pulled him early, because I think Harry was doing well, actually. Now, I think what a lot of people think about Harry is that he's a playboy and he's not very bright, but actually, he's intelligent, he's articulate, he's genuine, he comes across genuinely, and also he knows these issues inside out. He's lived this case, and that makes, in my experience, for a very compelling witness. And I think that although there were no hammer blows landed by either side today, I think Harry held up well enough that they thought, this is damaging to us. And he said a few things. For example, he said, I feel like they were trying to drive me to drink and drugs to make more press out of me. He talked about the misery inflicted on Meghan and started choking up. This is the kind of emotional stuff that cuts through to the public. And I think maybe there was a tactical decision by Associated's lawyers that this isn't going well, we should pull him out early so he doesn't do any more damage.
After our last conversation, I thought I understood the pain and pressure. But seeing a prince walk into a courtroom, not as royalty, but as a man demanding to be heard, changed everything. Prince Harry refused to be silenced, fighting for his truth against the press. The world watched as he stepped into the witness box, the weight of history in the room. On one side, a global media institution. On the other, a man with only his memories and conviction. A son fighting for his mother, a husband for his wife, a father for his children. That's courage, not from a title, but from belief in what's right. Behind every public figure is a person. Even those in the spotlight have a right to their own story. And sometimes telling it is the bravest thing of all. Imagine the scene. A historic courtroom, tension thick in the air. Prince Harry takes the stand, not as a royal, but as a witness sworn to tell the truth. Every eye is on him, lawyers ready to challenge his every word. But a different Harry emerges, calm, clear, resolute. He speaks of his childhood, the relentless intrusion, the feeling of being watched. He's not just telling a story, he's reliving it. The lawyers try to trip him up, questioning his memory, suggesting exaggeration. But Harry stands firm. He explains it's not about one article, but the cumulative effect, the constant anxiety, the loss of trust. His testimony is a lesson in trauma, connecting his past to his present. He draws a line from the press's treatment of his mother to what he and his family now endure. This isn't about revenge. It's about breaking a cycle. In that courtroom, his voice echoed with pain and hope for a different future. And for a moment, the world listened. What made Harry believable wasn't his title. It was his lived experience. He spoke not of theory, but of memories etched by fear and betrayal. The lawyers tried to reduce his trauma to public interest. But Harry's testimony was about being human, not just public. He described paranoia, suspicion, and isolation, real costs of relentless media intrusion. When he spoke of his mother, the courtroom fell silent. He drew a direct line from her suffering to his own. This wasn't strategy. It was a cry from the heart. His fight was to honor his mother and protect his family. In a world of spin, his raw account cut through the noise. He wasn't performing. He was simply speaking his truth. Lived experience became the most powerful evidence. Your story is yours. No one can take that away. Everyone expected a brutal cross-examination. The media's lawyers were known for being relentless, hoping to break Harry down. But the grilling fizzled out much sooner than planned. Why? Because Harry answered every question with clarity and conviction. He calmly explained that the pain caused by the press isn't easily forgotten. He didn't get flustered. He recentered the conversation on the human impact. The lawyers were unprepared for his steadfastness. Harry had nothing left to lose. His strength came from vulnerability. They tried to use his own words against him, but he owned them. Their strategy failed. The longer he spoke, the more credible he became. Continuing would have only strengthened his case. So they retreated. Authentic testimony changed the courtroom dynamic. Inside the courtroom, facts and evidence ruled. Harry's narrative held up under oath, his experience undeniable. For a moment, truth was examined away from public chaos. But outside, the media spun a different story, painting Harry as arrogant, a hypocrite, an enemy of the free press. Headlines twisted his words, reinforcing old caricatures. The goal wasn't to inform, but to sway. While a judge weighed evidence, the media ran a campaign to discredit the process. Complex legal arguments were ignored for emotional narratives. It was a battle between reality tested by law and reality manufactured for mass consumption. This contrast revealed a fundamental problem. How do we find truth when the storytellers are part of the story? The courtroom offered a glimpse of facts. The media, a reminder of how easily truth can be undermined. Two versions of reality, one for the record, one for the crowd. The campaign to discredit Harry isn't new. Commentators like James O'Brien have noted the press's effort to turn Harry and Meghan into villains. The moment they stepped back from royal roles, the negativity intensified. Why? Because they challenged the unspoken deal between monarchy and media. The press painted them as hypocrites, distracting from the real issue: illegal, unethical information gathering. The goal was to make them so unpopular that no one would listen. Negative stories created a feedback loop, justifying more attacks. Harry's day in court was a direct challenge. He bypassed the media filter and spoke to a legal authority. He refused to be the villain, insisting on his own narrative. This act threatened the media's power, showing accountability is possible. The media's fierce pushback isn't just about Harry, it's about protecting their power. For decades, the press has operated with impunity, shaping public discourse without scrutiny. Harry's lawsuit threatens that system, forcing them to defend their methods under oath. The reaction is personal and aggressive, a sign of fear. If a prince can expose their practices, others might follow. More lawsuits, more scrutiny, more regulation could follow. The media is fighting to discourage anyone from challenging them again. This is a battle for narrative control. Harry and Meghan, by speaking directly to the public, bypass the old gatekeepers. The press's pushback is a desperate act to maintain dominance. This case is about more than Harry. It's about the struggle between individual truth and institutional power. The principles at stake are universal: privacy, mental peace, accountability. Harry's actions could inspire others to stand up against powerful systems. He's creating a roadmap for fighting back, even when the odds seem impossible. This isn't just a celebrity lawsuit. It's a lesson in courage and resilience.